Hey, what's going on, guys? Full disclosure before we start watching this video. I have never owned or even touched an original Takara MP36 Megatron. Just something about that figure kept me from buying it. Can't place my finger on it, but there was something about that figure that kept me from buying it. But anyway, I was determined to get some version of a Masterpiece Megatron, whether it be third party or knockoff. Even though my name is Patriot Prime and I have a tattoo of Optimus Prime here on my arm, Megatron was my favorite Generation 1 character. I always hated how he was downplayed in Marvel Comics, and let's not even talk about the terrible Bayverse version of him, but that's another video for another time. So as I was asking around and trying to figure out which Megatron I wanted to get, one of my Facebook groups mentioned this guy, Infinite Transformations Emperor of Destruction. He is a fourth party version of Masterpiece Megatron for a fraction of the price. And I ordered this guy from China. And what was even more impressive was how fast I got it. I even posted a video the day he arrived and posted on one of my Facebook groups. You know, I've been all around the world and I have witnessed some amazing things. And today I got to witness another amazing thing. I received this package in the mail today. This is an item I ordered off showzstore.com, a internet transformer site from China. I ordered that Friday the 15th and it arrived here today, 5 days later. Ordering from China and it arrived today. And just to prove what day it is, Alexa, what is today's date?
Today is Wednesday, June 20th.
June 20th. Wednesday, June 20th. I ordered that on Friday, June 15th. Even over the weekend, it arrived in 5 days. I don't get Amazon packages that fast. That's right, 5 days from China. So anyway, here's the box for the figure. Very big box, nice and purple with some great artwork there on the front. On the side is pictures of the product, both sides actually. On the back is pictures of the figure, along with all the different accessories he came with. So let's get this guy open and take a look at what's on the inside. What you have here is a two-tiered plastic coffin of goodness. The first level, you have the figure and the fusion cannon. The second level is all these different accessories. Now, for the sake of this review, I will be referring to this figure, IT-01, as Megatron. So welcome to Patriot Prime Reviews, Infinite Transformations IT-01, Masterpiece Megatron.
I am a real American, fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American, fight for what's right, fight for your life.
Now, the first thing we're going to go over is all of the different accessories this guy comes with, and man, does he come with a bunch. First off, he has the not a lightsaber that he used on Optimus Prime in the '86 movie, his mind control helmet from an episode from the G1 cartoon, a damaged chest plate along with a damaged faceplate to also recreate his iconic battle damage look after he fought Optimus Prime in the '86 movie. You have two different face plates, one with an angry face, one with a maniacal laughing face, a blue Kremzik for some reason instead of a yellow, the mystery blaster that he used to shoot Optimus Prime with in the '86 movie, his energy flail and chain, along with a very questionable articulated piece of plastic that we'll go over later on. It's not what it looks like.
We also have the key to Vector Sigma, which is from the G1 episode bearing the same name. And what's cool, that is completely die-cast metal with a nice gold flake paint job on it. So I think it's pretty cool. He also comes with a silencer and buttstock for gun mode that we'll go over later on. Now the first thing you're going to notice when you finally release Megatron from his plastic stasis pod is how much he looks like his Generation 1 cartoon counterpart. I mean, he looks like he just stepped out of a television screen in 1984. And he's a pretty big figure as well. Let's compare him with his most recent incarnation, the Titans Return Megatron, and his Combiner Wars figure. And as you can see, he is a little bit taller than your average leader class figure. And just because somebody's going to ask for it, here he is with Generation 1 Megatron. Next thing I'm going to go over is the outstanding head-to-toe articulation this figure has, starting with his noggin. His head is on a ball joint, so it can go all the way around 360 degrees. He can look up, he can look down. He also has a great head tilt, so you can really get some extra expressions with some of his poses. The arms and shoulders are on ratchet joints. Arm goes all the way around and up side to side. There's also an extra joint up top that'll bring the arms forward past the chest. There is a bicep swivel and, of course, biceps. The wrists also turn. The fingers are jointed as well. The pointer finger has multiple joints in it, but the bottom three fingers are all connected as one, but that really doesn't affect any poses because you can still get a nice villainous point from Megatron. The thumb is on a joint as well, can go in and out. Now the hips are on a ratchet. They can go all the way up and back. Goes back so far before it stops there with the hip skirt. Hip skirt here does go forward to allow a wider range of motion. There is a thigh swivel. Oh, I forgot to mention, a waist swivel as well. Thigh swivel, ratcheting knee joints, and a great ankle tilt. So you can really get some nice spread eagle poses with this guy. And he maintains these poses thanks to die-cast metal feet and die-cast metal thighs. The paint scheme on this figure, well, it's definitely a prime example of less is more, because the only colors that really need to be associated with Megatron is gray, black, and red. And the paint on this guy is actually fantastic. I haven't noticed any flaws whatsoever except one. The only flaw I've noticed on this figure is right here, this red on the elbow. There's a little smudge right there. But it took me 3 days of owning and fooling around with this figure before I even discovered that. Another small flaw I noticed was this rough sprue right here on the forearm. But that's nothing that can't be fixed with an X-Acto knife. Now that he's up a little closer, let's look at some of the other details on this figure. I love the translucent plastic that they've used here on his ab control panel. It really looks good that you can see through it and see circuitry details underneath. Also, up here on these chests, these panels here, that's translucent plastic that you could look through and see metal underneath. So it really adds a neat dimension to the character. He's also got good details showing his side vents here, the vents here on his chest, and just little detail throughout that they really took the time on. The face sculpt is fantastic. I love the eyes. They really catch the light and give Megatron this really sinister look. The face itself is almost a really light gray to white color, which makes the face stand out from the rest of the figure. And since we're on the subject of faces, Megatron comes with multiple face sculpts. First off, Take a look at that. The inside of his face shows nice circuitry details, his optic sensors, and mouth speaker. At least I'm assuming what that is. I'm not good on my Transformer anatomy. And that looks exactly what was shown when Megatron was broke down to a molecular level in Transformers the movie when he was converted to Galvatron. So anyway, here is Megatron's smiling, laughing, evil face. Still has that great paint job on the eyes. See how it catches the light? Next up, we have Megatron's angry, yelling face. Once again, a great paint job, and the eyes look fantastic. Now, let's give him his final battle look, utilizing the damaged face and chest plate, along with his sword and gun. So first, we'll take off his laughing face, grab his battle damaged look here. Now, my biggest complaint with this, he's got some great paint throughout, but as you can see with the sculpting, I wish they'd colored his fluid leaking from his eyes and mouth. They could have colored that green like in the movie. Now, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but one of his eyes, this eye right here, is actually cracked. So there's a crack in the eye, which makes it look even more battle damaged. Now, to switch out the chest plate, all you're going to do is grab the bottom of the chest plate he has and simply lift up. It slides right off. Take the battle damaged chest plate, slide over these end pieces, just like so, for a secured fit, and there is battle damaged Megatron. Now, to complete his final battle look, we're going to remove his fusion cannon. Just simply slide up and off. Now, I forgot to mention, the fusion cannon itself has a gimmick. Turn it around, press the button on top, and it has this awesome laser sound. Flip the switch up here, you have this going on. Some kind of Japanese voice clips. I don't speak Japanese, so I'm not going to worry about showing that off anymore. And one more click to the back, and you have this classic sound. And it lights up every time you push the button. So there's that. Let's place the fusion cannon over here to the side. Now let's take a look at two of the accessories. You have the gun and sword from the '86 movie. The sword itself looks exactly like it did in the film, with the right collars, details, and everything. Now you can take the laser part out and place it in the barrel of the gun. Now here is where I noticed another flaw on this figure. When I pulled the blade out of the sword for the first time, let me see if it'll focus in. See the paint? There's paint on the end here. Let that focus so you can see. Just a couple spots that rubbed off from the inside of the hilt. Now I could easily scrape that off, but for the sake of this review, I wanted to show you guys what could possibly happen. So anyway, let's give these accessories to Megatron and give him that final battle look. Both weapons have these little tabs on the handles that correspond to tabs in his hands. So just kind of move the thumb out of the way, but they don't really stick in. You're going to have to wrap the fingers around and the thumb around. Once you get them in, a little tricky while filming, but the fingers wrap tight around the handle, and it's a great fit. Same with the gun. It's got the little tabs that correspond with the hand but don't really stick in. You just want to make sure and wrap the fingers around really tight, and they're in there really secure. So you got your sword in hand, you got your gun in hand. Let's give him one of those dramatic poses that he can do. And there we go, Megatron in final battle form. Other accessories include Kremzeek, the energy creature, who is a nice rubbery material. I, of course, wish he was yellow like he was in the cartoon instead of this blue. Now, even though he's a rubbery material, he is stiff enough. He can stand up on his own, so you can display him any way you'd like. The other accessory is the key to Vector Sigma, which, as I mentioned before, is a very nice painted die-cast metal. Very nice looking. It's got like a gold flake paint on it, if I can get it to focus here. It's a pretty neat accessory, but that's pretty much it of that. He also comes with his mind control helmet from the episode A Prime Problem, where he created a clone of Optimus Prime and used this to control it. Now, this is a pretty neat little accessory. My biggest flaw I've noticed is they didn't do a good job gluing it together. It could have been squished together a little bit better. It's got a big gap on it. Doesn't really mesh in good and tight. But it still fits on top of Megatron's head, so he can issue commands to his Autobot clones. See, the posability on this figure is amazing. Another piece I want to go over is if you turn Megatron around, he has this back piece right here. Now, from what I understand, the original Masterpiece Megatron had a very messy looking back. He didn't have this section right here, which just slides right off. And it's a solid piece of plastic. Very detailed, solid piece of plastic. And like I said, I think the original Masterpiece Megatron just looked like that on the back. So very sloppy. I mean, it's not a very nice look at all. There's another right there, if you can see, it's another very rough sprue that needs to be shaved down. But we'll slide this right back on top and keep my Megatron, the IT-01, looking nice and clean. My personal favorite accessory is his energy flail, an iconic weapon that was only shown in the second episode for only about 45 seconds, but stuck with the fans. The Bayverse Megatron even had a callback to it.
You destroy everything you touch, Megatron.
Because everything I touch is food for my hunger for power!
No, I'm going to end your hunger once and for all.
Almost trying, but almost doesn't get the job done. You can't stop me!
You're old, Megatron. Yesterday's model, ready for the scrap heap.
We'll see who's ready for the scrap heap.
Junk! That's what you are. Junk!
Silence! When I'm through with you, Prime, there won't be enough pieces to swing.
Yep, that was it. The flail was shown in the second episode of the Transformers for about 45 seconds, and you never saw it again. But all us Transformer fans love it. Now, the flail itself is a nice translucent purple plastic with a translucent purple plastic handle. The chain is metal. I wish the chain was a plastic purple chain to kind of match everything else, but it is what it is. Now, to attach the flail to Megatron, you simply slide off a hand. It's a little peg, mushroom peg. It slides right in and out. Then take the handle, make sure it matches up, and slide that in place. And there you have Megatron with his energy weapon. Of course, not much posability with the chain, unless you just want to do something like that. This, of course, leads us to our next piece. This piece right here, that kind of looks like it comes out of an Adam and Eve catalog, is actually a chain you can use to pose the flail with. Just simply remove this tip off the handle and this end out of the ball. Place the metal chain to the side. Then you insert this section. And what you have there is a very posable flail. So you can make it look like he's swinging it at you. Or like so. I mean, the possibilities are endless with this thing. And of course you have a pose straight out of the cartoon clip we just watched. I love the flail. Now next up we have the silencer and buttstock. Of course these are used for gun mode, but they do have functions for Megatron's robot mode as well. So let's take a look at the buttstock first. Now it's a nice hefty accessory, mainly due to the die-cast metal section right here that splits apart to form a tripod. And the reason for that is just like the original Generation 1 Megatron toy, this buttstock and silencer have a secondary purpose. You're going to fold this part back, this section back. You're going to press in on this button, which releases this little clip. Fold it all the way around. You have to keep the button depressed until it's out straight like so. Then you're going to take it, spin it around, flip out these sections right here, which form handles, and there you have part one of his new cannon. Then you're going to take the silencer, fold this section down like so, slide this portion into the slot right here, and there you have a Mega Cannon. Of course you can take Megatron's fusion cannon and slide it right up here on the top. And there we go. Megatron, of course, can man the cannon just like his original G1 toy. Another feature the silencer has is you take your Megatron figure, take his gun barrel, flip down, and twist to the side so the sight is facing out. Then you're going to take the silencer, fold this section down again, make sure this lines up, and this part will slide right over the back of the gun. There's a little section here. I should have done that first. First off, there's a little tab right here that you will flip out. There we go, like so. Now you're going to slide it over the barrel. The tab clicks in on a little peg on his shoulder, and there you have Megatron with a shoulder cannon. Now, here's another issue I noticed with this KO version. This groove right here should be on this side, because like the Generation 1 toy, you should be able to fit his fusion cannon right here to kind of give him a gun face look, but unfortunately they glued the barrel on the wrong side, or the tip. The cannon actually slots in on the wrong side of the cannon. It's supposed to be on his face, but since I never plan on displaying my Megatron like this, it's no big deal. Now, a neat secondary feature the buttstock has to offer, which also comes into play why he has these big heavy metal tripods on the bottom, is splay him just like you would for making the cannon. Bend the arms down like so, depress the button, flip this peg out, but instead of twisting it around, you're going to leave it out like so. Then you're going to take Megatron, and we are going to give him a colonoscopy. See Megatron's little butthole right there? You're going to slot this in like so. And now what you have is a flight stand for your Megatron. Not a gimmick I plan on using, but it's pretty cool nonetheless. As you can see, this figure has tons of playability and posability, but what's most surprising is the fact he can still transform into his G1 Walther P38 gun mode. Due to the complexity of this transformation and for the sake of time, I'm going to skip over transforming him and go straight to his alt mode. If you'd like to see the full transformation, please check out the Lazy Eyebrow Reviewer's step-by-step video of Masterpiece Megatron. That's what I used. You know, I've been a Transformers fan since 1984. I've transformed hundreds of different robots in the last 34 years, but there has been no transformation that has impressed me as much as this figure right here. I mean, you go from this robot to this alt mode. That just blows my mind. That is some impressive engineering. The gun mode has a working trigger and a hammer. So that is so cool. Now, the Walther P38 gained popularity in the Man from U.N.C.L.E. television show that aired from 1964 to 1968 as the signature weapon used by Agent Napoleon Solo, played by Robert Vaughn. I figured we'd go ahead and use Generation 1 Megatron's buttstock as my display piece for this alt mode. You know, let Grandpa help his little kid out for a moment. The thing about this transformation is the extra back plate you do have to take off in order to transform him into gun mode. So this, take it off, put it to the side. The transformation itself took me about 20 to 30 minutes. And thank goodness for YouTube video reviews, and shout out to the Lazy Eyebrow Reviewer. This figure came with a set of instructions, but they are terrible. This is pointless. Now, during the transformation, there was some scary parts. There's some very tight joints you have to watch out for, but all in all, it transformed very well. As you can see, it holds together good. There's a lot of panel lines, but not a lot of gaps. Now, just like the Generation 1 toy, you can attach the silencer to the front of the gun. Now, if you pull this apart, let's see if we can get the light in there. You'll see a peg on the inside. This slots inside the barrel of the gun to really give it a secure fit. So we'll go ahead and put that on. Just slides right on. And there he is with the silencer. I mean, it stays on there really good. I have put that silencer on multiple times and have yet to see any paint scratches on the barrel of Megatron himself. Now here's Megatron with his buttstock attached, and as you can see, he's over 2 feet long, which is very impressive for a gun transformer. And just for comparison, here he is next to his Generation 1 counterpart. The only fault I see with the gun mode is I wish it was more chrome to look like the original. But that's it, guys. He is an impressive figure. Hardly any kibble or robot bits at all showing in gun mode. I mean, this guy is awesome. You know, there's still something about this figure that doesn't seem right. Hey, Megatron, would you like an upgrade? What do you think of that? I know that within the Transformers community, knockoff figures are usually looked at with disgust, and 80% of collectors would rather have an official figure than a fake. But for the other 20%, like myself, who would rather have a great looking figure at a great price, you can't go wrong with Infinite Transformations IT-06. He's not cheaply made, and I am very impressed with him. Sure, he has his flaws, but it's nothing I can't live with. I personally have no problem saving $137 if these are the only issues, and none of these issues affect the way I'm going to display him. Plus, I'm not going to pose him as an original and try to sell him at a later date. As a Megatron fan, he's a welcome addition to my collection. And if you would like to get one for your collection, check out showzstore.com.
It's out of China, but as I said in the beginning of the video, it only took me 5 days to get mine. Now guys, I want to thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. I have an entire wall full of Generation 1 and modern era Transformers that I'd like to put in front of this camera as well. This has been Patriot Prime. Hooah! Hey, one more thing guys. If you happen to be on Facebook and are interested in joining a couple good groups of fellow toy collectors, I want to invite you to check out Collectors Universal Club Incorporated and Transformers and Such. Both groups are admin really well. They've got some great people, and you know, we're a bunch of 30, 40 somethings that play with toys, so you can't go wrong with that. Just tell them Patriot Prime sent you, and I'll see you online.